Hey, Nate Woodbury here, and I'm going to give a quick introduction to this video. This has been a dream project. So I've had this house for 5 years, and when I first walked downstairs and got to the end of the great room, I saw this door, and I thought, what is this? It's an exterior door, and I thought, okay, maybe this is an outdoor stairway that leads up to the outside. I opened up the door and realized, oh, this is a bunker room. That's what we call it. It's like a cold storage. And so you just didn't even expect it. And so the entire time for years, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to put in a secret passage here or put in a bookcase or some type of moving or sliding something that you don't realize it's a door? Well, that's what I've enlisted Brenden to create.
Folks, feels like it's been a hot minute. We are in the studio house today. We've got some lumber here for a project lady. Nate's been wanting it to get started for a while, and I've been putting it off for some reason. So I'm gonna grab my handy dandy pry bar, and we're gonna head downstairs and we'll look at a door and see what we can make of it. Yeah, still got some video scene setups down here. We got to move our ping pong table out of the way, but this is the door that we want to look at. I'm going to, well, let's see here. I'm gonna use this pry bar to pry this trim off the wall from around the door frame, and we're gonna see if I can get the door and the inset for the door frame taken out today, and we're gonna put a bookshelf in there. At least that's the plan currently. So let's get to it. All right, let's get this table out of the way and then see if we can get some trim off the wall around that door frame. Okay, so we've got this door off the inset frame. What I'm struggling with is trying to get some of these screws out that are holding the frame into the inset to the framing around it, the 2x4s. We've got at least 2 more screws, and they put some wood putty in here to cover it up, which is just what you do. So I've got to figure out a way to get that cleaned out, and I've stripped the head on this screw. So what I'm gonna do is take a metal drill bit and drill it out. There's probably an easier, more logical way to do that, but that's what I have at my disposal as far as tools go. So I'm gonna do that, and then we should be able to have this inset door frame out before I leave this morning. And now to it. All right, the next thing I want to do with this door frame is clean it up around the edges. And what I mean specifically, here on my right side, we've got some drywall that was all busted up and hidden behind the trim that whoever built the house put up. So I want to take a box cutter or just a razor, make that a clean cut, clean off all that broken drywall, take out the screws that are placed periodically on that 2x4, maybe clean up a little bit above the door as well. And then we'll put some OSB probably, since we have some scrap OSB that's roughly the same thickness as this drywall on the walls here. That way we have something for the trim to nail back into when we put it back up around the shelf we're going to be putting this door frame. All right, after a weekend break, we are back here in the studio house looking at this project. So the next thing I want to get done on this is I want to add another layer of 2x4 to this frame that's already been built out. On the ground, I actually think I want to try and use a 2x6, but I want to cut the edges at a 45-degree angle to make kind of a trapezoid piece of wood that goes in there. I'm not exactly sure, I can't remember right off the top of my head what this piece of the door is called, but that's kind of what I'm intending the 2x6 to work as, although it will be hidden behind the trim of the bookshelf door. Before I get all that going and take measurements, I actually want to test our concrete drill bit out on a quick short project upstairs. We need to install a ring doorbell by the front door, which is surrounded by brick. So give that a test or a try, and if it works, then we'll know we have the tools to keep going forward with this project. All right, I'm gonna need a little more feedback from Nate before I actually install the Ring video doorbell. So I'm not gonna install that today, but I was able to test out the concrete drill bit and the hammer drill, and it works. So we can go back downstairs and work on the door frame. Excited or sad? You're sad? Why are you sad? You like music class? You do, don't you? Well, I guess you'll have to do it again next year, huh? Next school year. Ka-ching. Okay, have fun, buddy. Bye, son. Love you. Okay, just finished installing the Ring video doorbell, at least the hardware of it. We'll let Nate take care of setting up, connecting it with his wireless system and his phone later today or whenever he gets a moment. So we're back down here to work on this door frame. I need to attach these 2x4s to the already existing frame, and then I need to cut out two 2x4s to fit up in this space that I'll then glue and screw together. That way we have enough meat to connect or to put hinges up into the wood that we then put up here and then into the top of the shelf that we'll be putting there. So wish me luck. So these are the two 2x4s that I screwed together that will be the top of the door frame and where we're building our bookshelf door. But I'm gonna run it through this edger to get a square edge that will face the great room, the carpeted side of the door. So we have like I said, a square edge, a flush edge to put trim on and to build the door frame off of. It should just make the process that much easier. Got some scrap pieces of L bracket type metal here. Not so sure it's steel. What I'm probably gonna do is drill 4 holes, 2 on each side of the L, and we're gonna secure the door frame to this concrete pour via this 2x6 that we just drilled into the concrete, or anchored into the concrete. Okay, so I've been putting this off for way too long, but so I've got this frame built in side of a frame so that we can do a bookshelf doorway, like a hidden door. Not quite a Murphy door, but a hanging door that'll open up like a hatch. So I put this 2x4 in so that I could staple this piece of framing into something, but this 2x4 isn't straight, it's warped a little bit. So what I've got to do is I'm gonna take this 2x4 out. So I've got to pop the framing off the wall, take this 2x4 down, and then I've cut a few pieces of this compressed board. So it's a little bit thinner, but it's also flat and straight. So I'll put that up, restaple this framing on, and then I need to build a little box out of this same board that will act as an anchor for the bookshelf. And hopefully that'll make more sense as we go through this project. If you want to check out Hacksman's YouTube channel, which is just Hacksman, he did a bookshelf like this, and it's the one that inspired our project. He probably did it much faster and more professionally, but we're trying to imitate, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so slowly making progress on this bookshelf doorway. Got this bundle of wood glued and screwed and nailed together. And that's where it's gonna go at the top of the bookshelf. It's gonna be screwed into the actual door frame. And this, the reason it's so thick is because that's where our hinges are gonna go. We've got some SOS hinges that we're gonna use here. Roughly an inch thick, or 1.5 inches. side. So this whole piece is gonna be buried in the wood. And we've got 2 of those. So I've got that top section pretty well done. And then this is going to be the top of the bookshelf, the actual bookshelf itself. And that's thick enough for that hinge to go into as well. So I had to put together another piece of wood for the trim. We've got to put it down so it's smooth, and then we're going to test this scrap piece of trim with wood dye that we have to see if it matches the rest of the trim in the house. It should, but this is a slightly different wood than I've used before on projects in the house. So once again, making slow progress on the shelf, but making progress nonetheless. So we're going to get to attaching this piece of trim to the top shelf of the bookshelf. I got the frame of the bookshelf cut out and put together. We still need a back. I'm gonna have to go get a 1/2 inch. These are 3/4 inch thick boards. I'm gonna get a 1/2 inch board to form the back. This is the top of the shelf, and I'm actually going to need to unscrew it from the top in order to put the hinges in, or at least to drill the setting holes for the hinges before I screw it back on with some glue. So, but looking pretty square, if I do say so myself. The backing will help keep it square and square it up. So looking pretty good. Nate ordered 2 of these sauce. I've shown these off before, but sauce invisible hinges, and they go about 1.5 inches deep into the door frame. Normally, when you're putting them on a regular door frame, and they would normally go on the side of the door frame. We're going to be putting ours on the top of this bookshelf, and then underneath on the bundle of wood I put up already to test out in the door frame. So we've got to go take that down. That being said, I need a 1 1/8 inch Forstner drill bit, which I don't have currently, and which our local wood store didn't have in stock either. So I had to order it. It'll be here tonight. I'll work on that tomorrow. But in order to do that, I want to take this shelf apart now that I've got it put together. And then I can use the drill press so that I can get a straight or squared up hole drilled where it needs to go in these 2 spots. So we'll take this apart and see what we do after that. We'll probably start cutting out shelves on the bookshelf. So I'm gonna hop to it. got two of these SOS or SOSS door hinges that are just, I mean, they're supposed to be completely hidden within the door frame and the door itself. Pretty heavy duty, about 1.5 inches on each side thick. So of course one side of this will go into this bundle of wood, which will be firmly attached to the framework around where the door is going to go. And then the other side of the hinge will be placed inside this bundle of boards, which happens to be the very top. If the shelf from building wasn't going to be a door and was just going to be a freestanding shelf, it would be the very top portion of that shelf. So we've got to prep the holes for these pieces of the hinges to go to recess into these bundles of wood. So I had to order online a 1 1/8 drill bit, Forstner bit, because you can't buy them at Home Depot or Lowe's in store, just a single bit like this. You have to buy a whole set. So we got that ordered. We're gonna figure out how to get the holes drilled to just the right depth, and then we'll use a router or a chisel to shape the holes so that these fit nice and snug. Okay, we're making some decent progress on this bookshelf door. We've got the hinged portion up there at the top, we've got the trim attached to the front. So now what we need to do is stain the trim, potentially the shelves themselves. At least we think we're gonna paint the back to the shelves to semi-match the paint on the walls here. This is the door frame that the bookshelf is going to go in, hopefully in just a few days. So we'll see how far we get today with staining and glossing, clear coating. Don't hold your breath. Before I forget, actually, so we've got our sauce hidden hinges, SOSS, hidden hinges for the top portion of the door frame where it hinges there. We've also got some hydraulic struts to help support the weight of the bookshelf that will attach to the back of the bookshelf and then the door frame. So I'm going to open that up really quick and see how we'll attach it to they're probably attached to the concrete around the back side of the door frame. So I need to figure out how exactly we're going to do that before we hang the bookshelf up. So let's take a look at what's inside here. All right. Oh, my bad. Gas struts with an insulation guide, which will be handy. So I'm probably not gonna be able to deep press it myself, but that's what we got to help us hold the door open when it's open, and of course allow it to shut when it shuts. Okay, so before I actually get to staining the trim on this bookshelf, I've been doing some measuring, and I think I've discovered that I may have made the shelf too long. I think what I'm gonna have to do is trim off a good 2.5 inches on this bottom board of trim, otherwise it's not going to close all the way. This is relatively heavy, but I'm going to see if I can put the hinged part up into place to see if it really is too long, just to, you know, double check my measuring skills. So let's see if I can do that successfully without breaking anything. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to try to get the bookshelf door into the door frame to make sure whether I need to cut off the 2 inches or so from the bottom. In order to do that by myself, I'm gonna try and use this cart lift. Probably won't go high enough on its own, so I've got to get a tote or something to put on there that I can then set the bookshelf on top of. Man, that thing was heavy and I had to get it down the stairs. But I'm gonna get this up there. If it fits, I might just hang it and then stain it while it's hanging. So, and then I've got to wait for brackets to show up in order to install the gas struts that will help prop the door open when we want it open, but will also be light enough that we can still close the shelf door. So let's see if I can make this work. Okay, I've got the hinged portion that's gonna be stationary, solid, screwed in. So I'm gonna start to lower this and see how much we might need to cut off from the bottom of the shelf, hopefully without breaking anything. So far, looking okay, pretty solid. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to cut some off. So let's see what we got. Okay, this is a little bit embarrassing. I'm not a professional woodworker though. I'm super proud of how this bookshelf has turned out. I just cut off about 2 inches from off of this bottom piece of trim, hoping that it would then slide into the door frame here behind us. But we're actually hitting the back corner of this bookshelf. So I did some remeasuring, and it turns out I've made this about 1 inch too long. So it'll be an interesting fix because I've got all this trim glued and brad nailed onto this, but the rest of it is just screwed together, if I remember correctly. So I'm gonna take this bottom shelf, the very bottom of this bookshelf off, and then measure up that inch and 1/8 to give myself some leeway. Maybe 1 1/4 inches. And then I've got some extra poplar wood that I can use to replace this bottom piece of trim. But in order to do all that relatively well, I'm gonna have to take the door out of the frame because I've got that screwed up in there. And I don't wanna do it, but I've got to. So we'll take it back down, get it all cut to size, see if we can get it hung back up today. and we might have to stain tomorrow. So cross your fingers for me, pray for me, let's do this thing. Okay, I cut off about 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches from the bottom of the bookshelf. You can see that trim's gone. Before I put that bottom trim back on, I'm going to see if the bookshelf fits in the space. That would have been the smart thing to do initially, but you live and you learn. So here's to try number 2. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see, let's see if this will focus on that piece of wood. It's like a sliver. It's just sitting on my thumb. It's not in my thumb, but it did go in my stinking eye, just barely. And I guess that's what I get for not having my safety glasses on my face instead of on my hat. So I guess that's just a friendly reminder to y'all, wear your safety glasses. Starting to fit, I think. Yeah. What do you think? Does it look like it fits?
It fits.
Okay, this is attempt number 2 with the lift. But we were successful the first time, except the door was too big. The door fits in the frame now, so let's see if we can get this back on the lift, jacked up, and screwed in at the top again. Cross your fingers for us. All right, Ian.
Okay.
We're gonna put this on the lift. Oh, I'm gonna try anyways, huh? Right there, don't bump the camera. Okay, here we go. Okay, it's on the lift. And on the lift. And then we try to go farther. Okay, Ian. Want to step on that? Step on it. Push, push, push. All the way down. Push, push, push. No, now let it up. Down, up. Down, up. Let it up. Up, up, up. All the way up. Let it all the way up. So you were lifting up the shelf. You see the shelf going up?
It's higher.
Higher, we want to go as high as we can get it. Any higher. Be very careful. Don't bump it. Don't bump it. All right, moment of truth here. Okay, Ian, you want to pull this lever? Pull it up, pull it up like this. Up, like this. Like that. See? Do that. Pulling it up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. No worries. Yeah. Okay, let's see if it fits. Cross your fingers. Look at that. I think it fits, buddy. Okay, so like I said before, I had to cut this shelf up, down, whatever, about 2 inches so that it would fit in the door frame. This shelf space is significantly shallower than most of the rest of the shelves. Also, I need to reinstall or reattach some trim to the bottom of the bookshelf so that when it closes in the door frame, it looks like it's just totally solid. It's a one, it's part of the wall, right? Because it's supposed to be a secret. bookshelf doorway. So yeah, I just need to get some glue out and some screws and the nail gun and put this on. Let's get to it. All right, got my helper here. Kind of pulling our struts out. So these struts did not come with these brackets. I had to order these separately. I initially bought some with 10 millimeter balls on them, which happened to be too small. So I had to get some 13 millimeter ball brackets. I'm not a mathematician, but they've given me kind of an equation to figure out where to place each end of the strut. So we'll work on that. That'll take a couple of minutes to figure out placement. And we also want...
Tape it.
Yeah, we're gonna use the tape in a minute. And so I've got this propped up about as high as I think we want it to open, which would be nice. And we're gonna do a little more staining just on the inside door frame, so when it's open or when it's closed, it's all dark. So if the light's on back here in this bunker room, no light's gonna hopefully seep through the edges of the bookshelf. And then after we get the struts on, we'll stain the trim up top. Let's get to it. Yes, strut, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, we gotta put these on it.
Okay, what is this up?
Okay, so here we go.
Hey.
That's the part you want to put on it. Okay, we want a flat one. You want that one that's bent? Okay, it goes on this side. So you gotta pull this out. It's going inside there, the ball part. Ball part. Get this out. Just a second. Push it in. Put it in. No. Push. Good job. Got it. We have to this back up. Hold it there. Hold it. Done. Okay, gonna do it on this side. Okay, use this one. Take this all the way off for a second. Get this off. There we go. Came off. Okay, use it.
Wow.
Push that in there. Inside. It's real hard. Oh, my thumb. Just pushing my thumb. Push hard. Oh, pushed in. Okay, we gotta put this pin back in. This. Okay, we gotta put it back on.
That's the arm.
Twist it on here. Keep going. Twisting it on. Twisting it. All the way on. All the way on. Can't go anymore. Okay, we got one more to do. You don't sound very excited. Are you excited about it? Where's the piece? Do you know where the piece is? You have it? Oh, it's right there under your leg. Let's get this off.
Yeah.
It's called a gas strut. Gas strut. Nope, don't do it. Oh, you showing the camera? Good job. You're showing the gas strut. That's a good job. Oh, this one's gonna be tough to get in there.
Hey, turn on the music. Turn on the music.
If it stops, put it back on the table. There we go. Okay, this one's up. Okay, here's my poor math skills. So we had to figure out length of CE, which is the length of the lid from the hinge point to the bottom of the shelf, which was 74.5 inches, basically. Then I had to do 20 to 30% of that length to figure out where to put bracket A. So I went 30%, 22.25 inches, which also happens to be the length of the thicker part of this gas strut. And I had to figure, I needed to know AD, which is the length from that point to that point, in order to figure out where to put bracket B. So, which is BC, the length from bracket B to the hinge point, which is equal to CA, where we determined bracket A would go, plus AD, which is the length of the cylindric part, the thicker cylinder part of the bracket. So we've got placements figured out, and I think we can start getting them attached.
Let me mark these and then I'm gonna let you put the screws on, okay? Yep.
It's screws.
Mark the spots here.
Oh, the front is
I'll find screws for you, right? Okay, got it? Okay, we're gonna drill some holes really quick.
It's screws here.
Do you wanna pull the trigger? Okay, I'm gonna pull it till I say ready.
Okay, that's all done.
Think that's all done?
Okay, we've got the gas struts installed, hopefully well. I had to adjust the placement of the back struts in order for them to reach as far back as I needed, because the equations I was given with the paper that came with the gas struts didn't take into account, of course, the fact that our lid, the shelf, is 8.5 inches thick. So hopefully this closes all right. Let's see how it goes. Let's close it. Let's see if it closes. Maybe. Oh, they're holding it up. Look, they're holding it up.
We're gonna move that. Daddy,
Buddy.
let's open that door.
Too much pressure. Okay, so I just readjusted these struts, and the bookshelf door will close now. But when I first tried to close it with the first placement of the struts, just a sec, this portion of the door, this stationary hinge point, started to bow out. So I bought these 6-inch screws. So I'm gonna drill some pilot holes that go all the way up into the actual door frame that was here before we started this project. And then hopefully these should, I've got 3 of them, make it stationary enough that we shouldn't have to deal with any movement, so. All right, attempt number 2, I just moved the struts this morning back along the shelf and down on the frame. Let's see if it'll close without breaking anything. Oh, put your weight on it. There, there you go. Look at it. It closed.
don't like that paint.
You don't like that bench?
Yep.
Why not?
It's a
Why don't you like that paint? That's your elbow, huh?
Dark. Bring this down. Turn it up to be dark. It's dark.
All right, so this shelf is just about done. We've got the stain, the gloss, the paint, everything's on there. It opens and closes just fine. Two more things I want to do. Nate has these Aputure lights that he uses for his clients here at the studio house, and they are magnetic and can be controlled wirelessly from his iPad by a Situs link. Now he's also got these really thin metal plates with a screw hole in them that are of course magnetic, or not magnetic, but magnets can stick to it. So what I want to do is find the center, as close to the center depth and width wise on each of these shelves on the underside, and I will screw a plate on under there so that when clients fill in front of the shelf, we can just stick these lights up under there without having to use tape, or without just having to prop them up like so, or like so, kind of inside. Probably didn't see that. So we're gonna get these put in there. I went and instead of having to buy more screws, just took some screws that we had left over and spray painted them black so they will blend in with the plate. Okay, so we just screwed in, let's see here. Don't know if you can see that, but we just screwed in those metal plates, which also happened to have a type adhesive, like the same kind of adhesive you would have on a command strip on the back of that, so it could stick to the bottom of the shelf. However, either I didn't let it sit and stick long enough, so the screw is holding the plate up, but when I put only on one side, so when I put this Aputure light on there with the magnet, it kind of hangs down just a little bit. And I'm remembering now that Nate has mentioned in the past that these metal plates, even when they do stick and they hold up these Aputure lights, the Aputure lights get warm enough when they're used for long enough that it causes that adhesive to loosen up and then it would just fall off the shelf. So, and it's a little bit of a risk, but I just tested it out on a spare piece, on a scrap piece of wood. So I'm gonna take this brad nail gun, nailer, and we're gonna put a nail through the metal plate on the other end from where the screw is, which means it's gonna come up through the shelf. The nail's gonna come up through the shelf. I'll have to clip it off and file it down with it, hopefully without taking off any of this finish, because that took a good long while to put all together. So, wish me luck, let's get to it. All right, shelf is pretty much done. It opens, it closes, it's stained, it's painted. We've got some lights that magnetize. Sorry, is that the right word? That can stick to these plates up underneath each shelf. So let's actually take a look at what that might look like as a backdrop. And all that remains to do is put books on the shelf. See if it still opens and closes with that weight on it. Okay, we've got our Situs link turned on here on this iPad. Got all of the lights on the shelf connected to this app. Before we turn the lights on though, let's turn the lights off in this area just to get a better look at what we're dealing with. Turn them all on here. You won't be seeing this when I video it, of course, but it was very recently, September 11th, so tried to make an American flag of sorts there. And like I said, all that we need to do now is put some books and such on the shelf. We'll probably change the light colors. There it is, y'all.